Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm excited for this one. I had so much fun thinking about this and writing my notes, and I waited until I was on my period as well to record this one, just so it feels a bit more authentic. And I've got my period tea with me as well. So it has red raspberry leaf, which it's quite common, quite well known to take on your period, but it's great to take regardless, just for uterine strengthening. And it's also got chamomile, lavender, fennel seed, and I'm sure it's lemon balm as well that I put in. And I don't have exact measurements because I eyeball it and do guesswork. I just do what I feel like, in all honesty. I know my herbs, so it's second nature at this point. But it's a fun thing to do anyway. You don't need to measure. If you do want to make tea, experiment, have fun with it. So I want to just jump straight in. So I do just want to say that just because you're a woman, you don't have to be sexy or appear sexy or come across as sexy to other people or men. That is not the price you have to pay for being a woman on this earth. But we want to feel sexy. I don't want to say most of the time, but often, who doesn't want to feel sexy and sensual just for ourselves? It's a great feeling, not even for anybody else, but just for you. It's great to feel that way. And sometimes it's hard to feel sexy when you're bleeding and when you're on your period. And I just want to say, sexy is a state of mind. You can feel sexy no matter how you look. Even if you don't have your hair done, no makeup on, you're wearing your lounge clothes, you're bleeding, you can still feel sexy and sensual. I often feel sexy when I've just eaten and I have a food baby, okay? Sexy is a feeling, not a look. And don't get me wrong, absolutely, putting effort into your appearance, getting all glammed up, making yourself feel gorgeous in that way, it absolutely helps. And I'm not saying you don't need to do that. That is fun as well, and it just adds to it. That's like the cherry on top. And we should do that because it makes us feel good and it expresses the energy that we want to put out there and it reflects how we feel on the inside. But feeling sexy shouldn't solely depend on that. It really does come from within. And I know there are so many things that affect our ability to feel sexy, and being on your period is one of them. We generally feel more fatigued, a bit more sluggish, a bit more bloated. Sometimes we don't eat the healthiest stuff because of cravings, and that makes us feel physically, again, just not our best. And that can also lead to more breakouts, which you might get around your period anyway. You might, because of all of this and the fatigue, and you just don't feel your best, you don't feel as put together, or you don't want to put effort into putting yourself together, you might feel dirty, which you're not. You're not dirty when you're on your period, because period blood isn't dirty. That is just something that has been told to us, but it doesn't mean it's true. So I can absolutely understand why you don't feel your sexiest when you're on your period, but it doesn't mean that you can't, and it doesn't mean that you don't deserve to. And do you know what? It doesn't even mean that you can't feel your sexiest when you're bleeding. So I think a big reason we don't feel sexy is not because of the period itself, but because of the horrendous symptoms that a lot of us get. Pain, bloating, acne, mood swings, extreme fatigue, headaches, and vomiting in more extreme cases. So if you're experiencing these period symptoms but very strongly and they're very extreme, that's a sign that there's something deeper going on with your health and your hormones, and you need to look at things like diet, lifestyle, stress, sleep, even alcohol and drug consumption. That's not what I'm going to be going into in this episode, but it doesn't mean that you can't use the tips that I'm going to share anyway, but it just means that there's other things that you have going on health-wise that need addressing. But absolutely, keep listening, and you can take all of these tips on board regardless. So the first tip that I have is to do the inner work, because there's a lot of shame for a lot of women when they have their period. And this comes from childhood often. Many girls have had bad experiences with periods, myself included, okay? So it can be a bit of a taboo subject, especially depending on the family that you're brought up in, culture, the type of friends you have, and you're not allowed to talk about it. Very private. You shouldn't share it. Nobody should know you're bleeding. You might have been told that it's dirty, or you've gotten into trouble for staining anything, your bed, your clothes, when you were younger. Or you might have had the experience of leaking when you're out in public and then if you get a negative response, that leads to even more shame. So all of these things that are instilled in us when we're young, we can take that on to adulthood, even though we know logically that it's not true. Or sometimes we don't even know logically that's not true, and we shouldn't feel ashamed. Many women still feel like it is a dirty private thing and they should be ashamed of it. And another aspect is that we are sold this idea from both men and other women that men are disgusted by periods and will be turned off and won't find you desirable when you're bleeding. There are men out there who are sold that same narrative, who are told that that's true, and then they take that on as their own narrative. And that can make you feel more shame from your period. But I do want to say there is an abundance of men out there who do not hold that view and will still find you sexy and desirable even when you're bleeding. And there are plenty of men out there who are even more than happy to have period sex. It's not as few and far between as you think. And if you tell yourself, I'm never going to find a man who has these views, that's a limiting belief, and that's all you're going to be looking for. And you're not going to be able to see that there are men out there who don't hold these views. So if you are currently with a man who makes you feel ashamed or unsexy for being on your period, just think about, is this the kind of person you really want to be with? Is this someone you deserve? Is this the kind of treatment you deserve? Just think about that. And if you have had negative associations with your period, you aren't going to feel sexy well on your period, and you'll feel worse about yourself and about your period itself. So that can also lead to worse period symptoms from a psychosomatic place. So doing the inner work makes you feel like yourself when you're bleeding and empowered. And since doing the inner work myself, I feel my most feminine when I'm bleeding, and I actually enjoy having my period when I'm at home, I must say, because if you have to work, if you have to go to work and do your job, it can just be exhausting. And I have my own views about whether women should be working while on their period or not, and the answer is generally no, depending on the job, and you need extra rest. But anyway, remember who you are. You are the same beautiful, powerful, magnetic woman bleeding as you are not bleeding. If anything, you're more intuitive, more mystical when you're bleeding. So don't underestimate yourself. Throw these narratives out the window and take on the narratives that you want to be true for yourself, that you are this fantastic, powerful woman, even when you're bleeding. So think about how you actually want to feel. Start doing your affirmations and embody that. And really tell yourself to the point where you believe it, that all these things are true, the things that you want to be true, because they can be. You can choose your own narrative and you can take that on. And you will be amazed at how quickly that changes, and the way that you feel about yourself and about your period changes when you start telling yourself positive things about your period and how you feel around and about your period. So on to the more practical tips. So the inner work, I would say, is the most important, because if you are feeling shame and embarrassment around your period. A lot of these other things, they will help, but it will not tackle the root of why you're not feeling great around your period. So you know that underwear, that old stained underwear that is so comfortable, but old and stained, and you reserve that for when you're on your period? Get rid of that. Throw that in the bin. All of your underwear should be your good underwear. There is some sexy underwear out there that is also comfortable and compatible with pads if you use pads, because I know that thongs, it can be difficult to try to attach a pad to if you are a pads wearer. I mean, I've done it before, but you don't feel your most safe and secure when you're wearing a pad and a thong. And if you are someone who thinks that thongs are the only sexy type of underwear out there, just open your mind, broaden your horizons, and just browse online, because there are so many different shapes of underwear that are not thongs that are still very sexy. Just because it's a thong doesn't even mean it's the sexiest. And do you know what? I love period underwear because not everybody is a tampon or menstrual cup kind of woman. And pads, let's be honest, they don't feel very sexy. It can feel like you're wearing a nappy or a diaper, but period underwear, again, so many different styles and colours, just there's so much variety, more than you could even imagine unless you go and have a look. And even if you have a heavy flow, there are different types of period underwear for different levels of flow. So it is inclusive for everyone, and the main thing for me is that it's comfortable. I love that because I am personally a pads type of person, but I find that pads are not always the most comfortable, and if you have tried period underwear and then gone back to pads, you will find pads even less comfortable, because in comparison, period underwear is just it for me, and it feels like you're free bleeding as well. It feels very minimal, and it generally can hold quite a lot of blood as well. But again, there's different kinds of period underwear for different flows, and you can even get period thongs. So you have so many options, and I would highly recommend it. So, like your old stained underwear, you don't need to wear that old loungewear and pajamas just because you're bleeding. You can wear something sexy that is also comfortable. There's so much choice for pajamas and loungewear. Just, again, look online. Thank God for the internet, because where were we without it? There is so much choice. Anything that you can think of, pajama, loungewear wise, even underwear, I am sure you can find it. I'm sure it exists out there. And if you're going out, you can still wear comfortable clothes that are nice looking to you, that you feel good in, that you feel sexy in. Think about things that are more flowy dresses. And I know jeans are not always comfy at the best of times, but you can wear palazzo pants or stretchy flare trousers is what I love. I love my stretchy flares. They're kind of like, not quite leggings, they're quite form-fitted, but they're knitted, but not super thick. Anyway, but not everything has to be form-fitted to be sexy as well. And sexy does not automatically mean uncomfortable, and comfortable does not automatically mean frumpy. You have to just experiment a little bit, look, find what works for you, because we have so many different tastes in fashion, especially with how fast fashion is at the minute. There is a lot out there, so many different styles. Everyone has their own style and aesthetic. You know what makes you feel good. Find the comfortable version. And wear the darker colours as well, first of all, for the leak factor, because accidents do happen, and I'm sure we have all experienced that. So go for colours like red, black, deep purple, because not only are these sexy and seductive colours, they also give you that peace of mind, and it's a good safety net just in case leaks do happen. Now, don't neglect your self-care, okay? I know how easy it is and how much you might want to just stay in bed and not do any kind of self-care. But I would recommend you don't do that, because it will make you feel better when you look after yourself. And look, you can always crawl back onto the blanket after. Just at least do the basics. Brush your teeth, do your skincare, brush your hair. Okay, I know that one is an easy one, to not want to brush your hair and just to put it in a messy bun. But even just put it in a plait or something simple so it doesn't get tangled. Do something. And honestly, what is stopping you from doing your hair and makeup? Look, if you just don't feel like it or you don't have the energy to do it, that's fine. But if you are thinking, well, why bother? I'm on my period, I feel awful anyway. That's maybe when you should do the kind of hair and makeup that you like doing. It can really lift you up and make you feel so good about yourself. Like I was saying, sexy is a state of mind, but it doesn't mean we can't do these extra things that we enjoy doing anyway. To make us feel good about ourselves, I mean. And take a shower or a bath. It helps with that feeling of feeling dirty, which, like I said, period blood in and of itself isn't dirty, but it can make us feel dirty. You know, like when you're a bit sweaty, like it is a damp environment down there when you're bleeding. And remember, it is still bodily fluid, and you need to make sure you keep your body clean so it prevents not just any odour that might occur if you don't keep yourself clean, but you are running the risk of getting infections down there, and infections certainly don't feel sexy. And feeling clean just helps a lot when it comes to feeling sexy and feeling good about yourself. Just think about when your partner has wanted to have sex and you just don't want to because you feel dirty. So you go and have a shower and you feel so much better after. Same when you're on your period. And having a bath or a shower can help with cramps and aching joints and muscles as well. And it can help with your mood because it's so relaxing. And make that bath or shower an experience. Take your crystals in there, take your candles in there, put the music on that makes you feel relaxed and sexy and your best. I love listening to Etta James when I'm in the bath, specifically. And use your favourite products. Take your time and allow yourself to be fully present in the experience. Feel how the water and soap and your products feel on your body. Smell all of your delicious smelling products. Listen to the sound of how calming the water is and how much you're enjoying your music. Whether you're in the bath or shower, being in your body puts you in your feminine, and that can make you feel very sensual and connected to yourself. Just using all your different senses, it really helps you connect with your physical body. And do your skincare, use a face mask, and put oils on your body. I love this. This makes me feel like a goddess, to put oil on my body. And you know what? Massage yourself. Give yourself a massage from head to toe. Take your time and use whatever oils you enjoy using on your skin, and use essential oils. Always dilute them in a carrier oil. Use the oils that you want, the essential oils that you want, depending on what experience you want. So lavender is so relaxing, great for cramps. Rose is a very sexy flower. We all know this, and it can really put you in the mood. So use whichever essential oils or essential oil combinations make you feel the best, and whichever ones you prefer. And massage your whole body. Take your time. Again, make it an experience. You're not in a rush. This is your body's time to rest. Really honor that. And it's also when you should be taking time for yourself. I know we can't always when we have a job, but when you have the opportunity, do it. This is time for you and your self-care, and time for you to love yourself. So massage everywhere. Massage your belly and your back to help with any cramps, and really helping to put you in the mood and to feel sexy about yourself. Massage your neck and your breasts. It is great for breast tenderness, and it feels so good. It feels sensual, just touching your body, feeling all of your curves. Even me personally, I think my bloated belly, when I'm a little bit bloated or when I've just eaten, it makes me feel so womanly. It's unreal. So massage in and of itself just elevates that feeling of being feminine and sensual and sexual. And I very highly recommend the Gaia Labs Relaxing Massage Oil. It is amazing. I love it so much. It doesn't feel oily or greasy. It soaks into the skin so well. It smells gorgeous. I love it so, so much. So the next thing I would suggest to feel sexy on your period is to do a sensual yoga practice. So we don't always have the energy to do a full on strenuous exercise, and I would not recommend it anyway, because it's, again, like I said, your body's time to rest. You don't want to push yourself too hard. So there are so many tutorials out there on YouTube, and there are so many that are gentle as well, so they don't make you feel exhausted like you are doing strenuous exercise. And it can even make you feel a little bit more energized and uplifted, because this is something else that makes you feel connected to your body and can help really connect you with your sexuality. And these sexy, sensual yoga practices also incorporate positions that make you feel really sexy as well. So I would just go and try and find something that you feel resonates with you and try it out. It helps me so much. And if yoga isn't your thing, dance or move your hips, because dancing helps with blood flow and it helps with cramps, especially moving your hips. And you can go at your own pace, and you have the absolute freedom to choose whatever music you want, and whatever music makes you feel your best and makes you feel sexy and puts you in your body. And just moving your hips has the same benefits, and you can do that sitting down or kneeling as well. If you don't feel like you have that power or strength or energy to get up and really move, because the hips are very connected to sexuality and sexual function, and the hips are associated with the sacral chakra, which is also related to sex. And just think about that. Think about the hip region. It is where we do get a lot of sexual pleasure. So it does make sense. And it does lead me into sex. Masturbate or have sex. What makes us feel sexier than sex itself, even if we are just having sex with ourselves? And what's stopping you? Is it the idea that, I can't because I'm on my period? Because that's not true. You absolutely can. And sex has all kinds of benefits, not just generally speaking, which we all know, but benefits related to your period itself. It can really help with all kinds of period symptoms in general, but cramps as well, especially. It can really help to reduce pain, can help with energy levels, headaches, the lot. So just lay down a towel and have fun. And blood acts as a lubricant as well, which makes things easier. And if you don't want to get too messy, you can use toys and condoms, and it is the perfect opportunity to have shower sex, especially if you're going in the shower anyway. And even if you are more bloated, let's say, and that's making you feel a bit insecure, you can get lingerie that covers your belly, or you can wear a cute t-shirt of yours that you like, or your partner's t-shirt, which is very intimate, I think. Or you can turn off the lights and have sex by candlelight, which is very sexy and romantic. You can accommodate how you're feeling. There is no one way to have sex. You can make as many accommodations as you like to have an experience that is going to be pleasurable and enjoyable, because if you're in your head too much, it's going to be difficult to enjoy the act. Now, if you really want to get in the mood, you can try aphrodisiacs for that libido boost. So if you want to take herbs, I have a whole episode on that, and I actually talk a bit about that massage oil I was mentioning as well. And I will link it in the description of this episode if you do want to buy it and try it out. So definitely check out that aphrodisiac herbs episode. And you can use food as an aphrodisiac. So think about strawberries, cherries, chocolate. These are very simple ones that we all know that are very sexy. Or chocolate covered strawberries or cherries to add the cherry on top. That pun was not even intended. But I'd also suggest warming foods. So ginger, chili, cinnamon. These warming foods increase circulation to the genitals and your erogenous zones, so that can improve the sensation that you get as well, which is obviously a bonus. And speaking of food, eating well can really help with how sexy you feel about yourself, because it is so easy to overindulge on junk food when we're on our period and just eat quick food and takeaways and stuff that isn't healthy because we don't feel like cooking or we don't have the energy to. And while there's nothing wrong at all with indulging, when you overindulge on these foods, it can make you feel heavy and more fatigued and more bloated, and inflammatory foods can make your cramps so much worse. And overindulging doesn't feel the best at the best of times, never mind when you're on your period and your body is overall more sensitive. And when you eat well, you feel well and you feel good about yourself and you feel physically good as a result, and that can help you feel confident and sexy. So don't underestimate the power that food has on your emotions, because I think we've all been in a situation where we've eaten a little bit too much of not the best foods and we just feel lousy. So especially when you're feeling not your best anyway, it's really important to support your health. Those are all of the tips that I have for you today, and I really hope that if you try these out, that they work for you, because they work for me, and I'm speaking from experience because I haven't always felt my sexiest while I've been on my period, and I have also been sold negative narratives about my period as well, which I have thrown in the bin because they do not serve me. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and gained something from it. And just remember, you deserve to feel sexy no matter what and no matter where you are in your cycle, even if you are in the menstrual phase of your cycle. So I hope you take care and I hope you feel sexy. Bye.